Hi everyone, welcome to Millhouse Ventures. And this is your presentation, So You Want to Be a Social Entrepreneur. The goal of this presentation is to answer the question, what is a social enterprise? So let's get started, shall we? So we are Millhouse Ventures, and we are committed to supporting the business growth and impact of Indigenous and social enterprise, including not-for-profit and for-profit social ventures. Welcome to today's presentation. We work with businesses that seek to trade for purpose. So these are entrepreneurs that are passionate about solving problems in the community. And often those entrepreneurs face barriers to business education and investment. So we exist to support their inclusion into the mainstream market. We are an innovative social enterprise business advisory and investment intermediary. We offer training, peer networking, and events that allow people to take the time they need to explore the concept of trading for purpose. I would like to acknowledge the unceded sovereignty of the First Nations people and pay my respects to their elders past and present. The Millhouse Ventures also acknowledges the Ngunnawal people, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which we operate and where we hold our headquarters. I pay my respects to the elders of the Ngunnawal Nation, both past, present, and the leaders emerging. I promise not to harm the spirits of the country today, and I extend this respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples in attendance. I would like to share with you a little bit of my background to help you understand the places where I have come from and where my experiences have really helped me to understand social enterprise. So here is a selection of some of the work that I've achieved over, let's say, 20 years. We can pretend that I'm still 21. And some of the industries and sectors where I have developed my business advisory skills, my impact awareness, and all of these experiences which eventually led to me starting my own social enterprise. So in my life before Millhouse, I was a creative industries business advisor. I was a freelance consultant for grants, fundraising and tenders. I've worked in regional spaces and rural communities, and all of those experiences and networks have given me a really finely tuned understanding of community, of impact, and of the power of trading for purpose. And I'm bringing that to the Millhouse experience to help others understand that all of the work that they have done before now has given you a rich understanding and a deep appreciation for the power of business that can do good. I would also like to introduce you to Cindy Mitchell, who is the CEO of Millhouse, and Cindy would like to share a message with you. Now, to be fair, this message is from the very early days of the formation of Millhouse, and I think it'll give you a lovely understanding of where we come from and why we exist.
Hi, I'm Cindy Mitchell, CEO of the Millhouse. Australia has a well-resourced innovation ecosystem. It focuses on high-growth, technology-enabled companies that seek to access large and lucrative international markets. Their grants, business advisory programs, incubators, and investment funds, all dedicated to these companies. We think that's great, but it's just not enough. But what about the businesses that trade for the benefit of the community? What about the entrepreneurs using everything at his or her disposal? Trade, grants, philanthropy, in order to look after the most vulnerable in our community. Who seeks to economically and socially include those who live in the margins in our community? These are the social innovators. Social entrepreneurs are just one type of social innovator. They work in the margins and they seek to use business to address difficult and intractable problems that are not being adequately addressed by government or mainstream community services. They often pioneer approaches and theories of change that, over time, change the nature of mainstream service provision. At the Millhouse, we believe that these incredible individuals represent an asset class that's also worthy of investment and support. The entrepreneurs who are part of the Millhouse, men and women of all backgrounds, ages, and abilities from throughout the Canberra region, are part of a new vanguard. They're part of a global entrepreneurship movement that's changing the nature of capitalism. They're committed to building strong, investable businesses with the capacity or purpose. We invite you to join us, our partners in the community sector, individuals, corporates, government, investors. Come and see what all of this is about. You can make a tax-deductible donation, sponsor outcomes for a particular client group in return for brand recognition. You can join a social impact angel investment group, or offer your time as a business mentor, or provide some other in-kind support. There are lots of ways to get involved. Come and join us.
So the goal of this session is to help you understand and explore whether social entrepreneurship is right for you, and to understand what support is available in the Canberra region. We're going to break down what is a social enterprise and really understand the working components of those types of ventures. I'm going to share with you where the money comes from to help you either start or grow your impact mission and your trading for purpose model. We're going to look at what Millhouse does to support the work of social entrepreneurs. And then finally, I'm going to briefly touch on the social enterprise business model canvas. I would like to give a shout out to Service One. Service One is a social enterprise itself, and they are one of the founding members of Millhouse Ventures, and they also support the Millhouse Accelerator program. And I'd like to say thank you very much to the members of Service One who provide funding, advice, support, and an incredible community to help us do what we do. Service One has also created a video that really helps us to understand the social enterprises that have come from the Millhouse program.
What social entrepreneurs do is use business as a tool to have some meaningful impact in a very specific social, cultural, economic, or environmental area.
People are moving away from the dominant paradigm of creating a business just for profit. We're seeing so many societal problems, environmental problems, and social enterprise is a great way of empowering people to do something great.
Service One's a social enterprise that exists to provide financial services back to its members, number one, and number two, to support the communities where those members live and work. And I guess that flows through to what we're doing with places like Millhouse.
The Millhouse is a social enterprise intermediary. We provide consultancy, advice to help them really manage the inherent tension that comes from trying to use business to actually generate impact.
Canberra had experienced its hottest summer on record, and I was really aware how much vegetation could play a role in cooling down the local environment. So my background is in landscape architecture and ecology. By reinstalling vegetation and getting water back into the soils, we can actually help create some little microclimates that can give people relief in their urban areas. I participated in the Millhouse Social Enterprise Accelerator program, and Service One is one of the sponsors. One of the great things was I got accepted into the crowdfunding program, and they've been wonderful. So we're Altina Drinks. We are on a mission to make sure that nobody feels out of place for not drinking alcohol. And we're doing that by producing drinks that pack a punch without needing all of the alcohol, the artificial nasties, the added sugar, that sort of thing. When we heard about social enterprises as a business model, we got really excited because it's a way that you can, run a business, but also have that impact on the community. Thanks to the Service One Social Enterprise Loan Scheme, we were actually able to secure this place, get it all fit out, and then buy some of that new equipment. That's helped us to produce a lot bigger volumes so that we can meet that demand.
What we really need to see in this sector is a very diverse sector. So we want consumer goods. We want basically anything that you can't buy. You want to have that option of being able to buy it from a social enterprise so that you can do more with your money.
I'm hoping there'll be a whole lot more of them, and I can actually see the next generation coming along really embracing this as a new model. If you choose to purchase something from a social enterprise, you know that you're having an impact beyond just the immediate purchase that you're making.
Thank you, Service One. So before we deep dive into social enterprise, and the types of social enterprises that are out there, and I'll show you some examples. What I hope you can see from the Service One video, from our alumni space, from our alumni participants, is a really diverse group of entrepreneurs who have decided to investigate what it means to trade for good. The people that have started their own social enterprise have come with a deep commitment to changing the world, changing a problem or creating a better future for themselves, for their families, for their communities, and generally for the world. The type of person who starts a social enterprise is the type of person who can bravely take on the instruments of capitalism and the marketplace to then find sustainable models to ensure that their impact is long lasting. I've started a social enterprise. Cindy started a social enterprise. And we believe that basically anybody can start a social enterprise, whether you're coming at this from a dreaming perspective, which is all around, here's a problem that I want to solve, here's a world that I want to build that's better than the world that we've currently got, or they've come from business orientated space and they can see the value of pivoting to trade for impact. So I'd like to give you a little bit of basic understanding to begin with. The kind of person who starts a social enterprise is the person who wants to use trade to create impact. I'm going to break that down a little bit further on, but key to that journey is understanding that you are now moving towards a core purpose that is trading for change, trading for an impact. The core purpose is to use the business to do good in a very special way. A social entrepreneur creates and exploits a business model to leverage the impact model. And you can see how those two models work together to help that trading for impact core purpose. A social enterprise is a very special type of business asset. And the people who start up a social enterprise are called lots of different names, from change makers to social innovators. At Millhouse, we focus on social enterprise as a very defined set of that social innovation category. Not all of our social entrepreneurs look like this, but I do love this image because it talks a lot about around that tension of profit and purpose. A social entrepreneur is just like an ordinary entrepreneur. You'll still be building a startup or pivoting your existing business. So you'll need to know about markets, industry trends, customers, suppliers, distribution, capital, and all of that money stuff. A social entrepreneur is interested in starting a business for greater social good and not just the pursuit of profits. So you will be looking at ways of making money. You will be expected to understand how profit works, but your additional focus on impact will produce those tensions. You're going to use the skills of entrepreneurship measured with the skills of impact, and this space of designing and performing in this tense environment will help you to build one of those really compelling, sustainable social enterprises that Millhouse would like to support. I'd like to introduce you to Ginger Rogers. So Ginger does everything that Fred Astaire did, but only backwards and wearing some pretty fabulous high heels. Social entrepreneurs don't have it easy. And they're often compared to Ginger Rogers, who skillfully and deftly mirrored Fred Astaire's ballroom dance moves. So the social entrepreneur does all of the things the entrepreneur does. They come up with game-changing ideas, they build the venture, they attract capital, they build the market, and they bring beneficiaries into that picture. But they do it backwards and in high heels. So what that means is the networks and the systems for financing, capitalizing, and getting the talent into your venture, they don't exist the same way that it does for the private sector. And this is why Millhouse exists. We recognized in this incredible innovation ecosystem that there was a very special space needed for social entrepreneurs to come and explore what it means to do everything backwards and in high heels, to explore that tension and to develop the skills in entrepreneurship and in impact. Now, when it comes to impact, one of the incredible resources that everybody has available to them is the Sustainable Development Goals. And this is where that social innovation space really starts to come alive. So social innovation speaks to the need for our economic systems to be linked to planet and people. There are gaps where opportunities for innovative solutions and a social entrepreneur to explore. And it's in those gaps where you can focus on trade to address some of the better outcomes that something like the Sustainable Development Goals framework asks everybody in the world to look at. We do need to better understand the blended models of value creation and develop new business mindsets for the benefit of people and planet. And if we are all working together to achieve those Sustainable Development Goals, what we're doing is articulating an existential independence between social, environmental, cultural, and economic outcomes. Now, I know I may have lost a few people here, so I just want to express this social innovation framework in a slightly different way. There are many, many different ways that impact can occur. The Social Development Goals framework breaks down the different areas where those impacts can happen. Now, within each of these different goals, there are many opportunities for people who want to make a difference to come in and start projects. Not all of those projects are going to be a social enterprise, but certainly within this framework, there is opportunities for entrepreneurial people to grow their social entrepreneurship and create companies or enterprises or investable ventures that can tackle some of these big global interdependencies. But what does that look like down at the local level? We like to break down some of those bigger social innovation spaces into the community wealth building initiatives that drive marketplaces, local economies, and are the grist for the mill, for want of a better expression, that help entrepreneurial people to really explore social enterprise in their own communities. There are many terms and knowledge areas around social innovation, and community wealth building is one of them. Community wealth building is a fast-growing economic development movement that strengthens communities, and it's through that broader democratic ownership and control of businesses and jobs that helps that community wealth building space to really hook onto those Sustainable Development Goals and gives us local entrepreneurs an opportunity to really understand how the instruments of the marketplace can drive our own social entrepreneurship. So the community wealth building movement builds on local talents, capacities and institutions, rebuilding capital to strengthen and create locally owned family and community businesses that are anchored in place and that aren't moving. With the coronavirus pandemic, with the COVID-19 situation really kind of disrupting and changing everything that's to do with local supply chains, we can start to see how this community wealth building and these impact goals are really starting to provide real opportunities for social enterprises to come in and fill gaps in their local communities that have emerged because of stress, because of changes, because of disruption. What we're observing there is ordinary entrepreneurialism responding to changing situations. And there's been a lot of disruption and a lot of unemployment and a lot of financial distress, particularly within that artist community who are already living in a precarious space. So what would it look like if we harnessed the power of social enterprise and now brought that into the community wealth building and impact framework that we've been discussing? For me, it's very much around working in existing markets. So you're going to build a social enterprise in an imperfect world. It'll be disrupted. There will be confusion, uncertainty, and fear. But what we do know is that the prevailing paradigm of enterprise, which prioritizes those private profits and privileges the interests of shareholders over stakeholders, is coming under considerable scrutiny and pressure. And with those world-changing events like COVID or the national disasters like the climate change-driven bushfires, those existing markets are now crying out for something more. It'll be the adventurous people in entrepreneurship that Millhouse can support to really understand and bring social enterprise into this conversation. So let's look at who is a social enterprise, what is a social enterprise, and really break down the types of social enterprises that are here in Australia, that are some of the flagship companies across the world. And hopefully through this case study approach to really breaking down who they are and what they stand for, you'll start to develop your own nuanced understanding of social enterprise. So the usual suspects that usually appear in one of these presentations are Thank You Water, Who Gives a Crap, The Big Issue, and Tom's Shoes. These are all incredible social enterprises, and they've all been around for a long time. So Thank You Water, I would like to share with you their vision statement because it's quite a beautiful one. There's a darkness in our world. 767 million people live in extreme poverty. It's made darker by the fact that in this same world, extreme consumerism exists. Every day, as consumers, we give billions of dollars to the world's largest multinationals for everyday products. Together, we think it's time to bring delight. So this really directly addresses the global instruments of consumerism and capitalism and brings it down to those impact goals, that sustainable development goal framework, and about lifting people out of extreme poverty, and shows you a trading model in which when you purchase something, you're directly contributing to a solution rather than compounding a problem. Thank You operates like any other profitable business. So they're investing in all of the things necessary to create great products and stay competitive. The main difference to other profit companies is that Thank You commits 100% of their profits to ending extreme poverty. Every decision they make, every team member that they induct in their company, every product and service that they put into a supermarket has this as their core purpose. That means that they don't have private shareholders. Instead, they are 100% owned by the Thank You Charitable Trust, which is a registered charitable entity. Now, Who Gives a Crap started when they founders learnt that 2.3 billion people across the world don't have access to a toilet. So roughly 40% of the global population. And that means 289,000 children under 5 die every year from diarrhea diseases caused by poor water and sanitation. That's almost 800 children per day, or one child every 2 minutes. Who Gives a Crap donates 50% of their profit to help build toilets for those in need. And to date, they've donated over $2.6 million to charity and saved a heck of a lot of water, trees, and energy because their product is also environmentally sound. The Big Issue is a not-for-profit social enterprise that develops solutions to help homeless, marginalised, and disadvantaged people positively change their lives. And Tom's is in the business to improve lives. Tom's has always stood for a better tomorrow, one where humanity thrives. To Tom's, that means that no matter who you are or where you live, you feel physically safe, mentally healthy, and have equal access to opportunity. Now, Tom's business model was a one-to-one impact model. So you buy a pair of shoes, they will give a pair of shoes to somebody who doesn't have shoes. But in the development and the success of their venture, they discovered more ways that they could help people. They have a new giving program and a new partnership model. So that means that a third of their annual profits can be given out as grants to people who are looking at the areas where they care about. So that's safety, mental health, equal access to opportunities. All of those can be enhanced by the money that Tom's makes. The shoes are super comfortable as well. Oh, by the way, none of the companies that I'm going to talk about in this presentation have in any way offered advertising or affiliate sponsorship deals for this presentation. But if they want to, I'm sure that they would be very welcome to get in touch. But there are many more social entrepreneurs out there and many more different types of social enterprise. Here's one that you might be familiar with if you happen to follow the royals a little bit like I do. So this is a Meghan Markle special. She loves these jeans, and this is actually how I discovered Outland Denim. So they are a brand built on the ethos that empowering women within communities that are affected by trafficking can be the catalyst for change. They offer sustainable employment and training opportunities to women who have experienced exploitation. They have proven that a sustainable career path and holistic approach to supporting their staff, who are these women that have been exploited, is the key to true social change, not only in the lives of those women, but their families and the community. Outland Denim is also going through an equity raise at the moment using crowdsourcing. So I encourage you to go and seek out more information about them on their website and in their social media, because the way that they're actually engendering impact and finding the money to help them sustain that impact is quite instructive. There is also SisterWorks. So at the age of 45, as a medical doctor and as a communication expert, Luz Restrepo arrived in Australia in 2010 seeking political asylum. Her life was in tatters and she spoke no English. She felt like a nobody, frightened, isolated, and disempowered. She soon discovered that she was not alone. So SisterWorks Incorporated was born in May 2003, just 3 years after Luz arrived in Australia. And she invited a committee of volunteers who had legal, fundraising, and marketing and administration skills to help support and build the structure for the SisterWorks enterprise. Then there's Words with Heart, and they print for people who want to change the world. Words with Heart is a social enterprise that creates beautiful stationery products that are kind to the environment, and every purchase you fund creates an education experience for women and girls. So as part of their impact measurement, as part of the way that they tell their story, on their website, you can see some of these incredible impact narrative figures, some of their statistics. Words with Heart is an eco-friendly print and stationery social enterprise founded by Lauren Shuttleworth, who is a social entrepreneur, gender equality activist, and a global shaper with the World Economic Forum. She founded Words with Heart in 2014 that uses profits to fund education for women and girls in the developing world. So when you order a notebook, you will see in the invoice how many days of education that notebook is actually funded through Lauren's connections with education providers in third world countries. She partners with some of the world's leading NGOs to fund projects across Africa and Asia, which includes primary and secondary education and business and skills training. And of course, we saw Altina in the video. Altina is on a mission to shake up the Aussie drinking culture. They've used science, innovation, and their creativity to create these amazing zero-proof craft cocktails that pack a punch without the alcohol. They really are delicious. They also create experiences around alcohol-free living, including bespoke cocktails, alcohol-free events, and masterclasses. They love making special events like weddings and brand launches even more amazing by working with their clients to create that bespoke cocktail experience that really suits the nature of the event or the nature of the bride or even the brand. As a social enterprise, they have social change right at the core of their DNA, and they are a Millhouse alumni. And then there is Base Soaps. Base Soaps is an ethical soap making business, and they are located in the beautiful country town of Bungendore in New South Wales. So after completing a hectic PhD and the birth of their beautiful baby girl, Mick and Leanne founded Base Soaps as an opportunity to embrace working together on a family enterprise. An ethical focus is fundamental to the existence of Base. By associating the purchase of everyday hygiene products to the provision of health and hygiene programs for vulnerable Australian communities, they aim to encourage people to buy ethically and locally, and their lemon myrtle products are just incredible. And then finally, there's my lovely friend Edwina from the Climate Change Factory. So Edwina Robinson is a landscape architect and founder of the Climate Factory. She started the Climate Factory in 2019 to empower and educate the community to create climate-ready outdoor spaces that cool the landscape, provide habitat and enhance human well-being. The Climate Factory and Edwina also won the Canberra Innovation Network's showcase event last year. The Climate Change Factory's vision is to plant 100,000 trees and shrubs in the Canberra region by 2025. So what's key to all of the stories and all of the examples that I've showed you around social enterprise is that these are people who have embraced the entrepreneurialism, embraced the instruments of capitalism in the marketplace to take their impact idea, to take their passion an extra step. Unfortunately, just having a passion for change is not enough. You need to be really savvy to take the next step, and this is where Millhouse comes in. So let's unpack these incredible companies. Let's build a little bit more of a social enterprise understanding and really start to unpack what it means to build your own social enterprise. It's really easy to be confused. That's because social enterprise reflects a way of doing business rather than a specific legal structure, particularly here in Australia. So we've seen from all of the other examples that I've shared with you that there are registered charities, there are profitable companies limited by guarantee, there are sole traders in that mix, there are family-owned partnerships in that mix. All of those are legal structures that help support those companies, support those ventures to achieve their core purpose, which is trading for that impact. Our ultimate goal at Millhouse is to ensure that your business model and the way you present your social enterprise to the market does not confuse your customers, investors, or stakeholders. At Millhouse, we don't confuse legal structures with social impact, and we teach you how to do that too, because we want you to be superheroes. By harnessing the power, advocating for trade and impact as a viable alternative, you can come to understand that social enterprise is a powerful business class asset that can generate social outcomes that cannot be accomplished by either traditional business models or philanthropy alone. Social enterprise is a growing and dynamic field, and the critical function of impact enterprise is being able to create social, environmental, cultural value while also generating revenue. So remember, you're Ginger Rogers, you're in a fabulous dress, you're doing it all backwards, and you're wearing heels. For me and my journey, key to this was dreaming really big. So social enterprises are led by an economic, social, cultural, or environmental mission with a public or community benefit. Being led by a mission and focused on benefits is evidenced by your impact. And it starts with a dream for a better world. So there's articles that are available on the Millhouse Ventures website, and there's some incredible thought leadership from Cindy Mitchell on her LinkedIn profile that really talks about what it means to dream for a different looking world. And I encourage you to really start to understand and unpack the principles that become the motivation for engaging in social enterprise from people who have done it before. Now, the big difference between a social entrepreneur and anyone else is that we use business to achieve our dreams. By articulating impact and aligning your dreams with a market, you have a tool called business to help you achieve that change. So the Sustainable Development Goals can help here, for helping you to think about impact in a way that connects your dreams to a bigger picture. As part of that journey, there are some key elements that help to really define what a social enterprise is in this space. One of those key things is that you're going to sell things. You will be trading for purpose. You will trade to fulfill your mission. So perhaps your mission is just like Thank You Water to end extreme poverty. They undertook a lot of market research and did a lot of market testing around, well, what is the consumer good that makes most sense for them to go to market with and create this impact narrative with? And of course, bottles of water. The people who buy those bottles of water now know that every sip that they take is completely changing the world for a vulnerable person. So when you're trading for purpose, you are going to sell things, you are going to engage in that conversation and build a venture that can have this capacity within it. It's also really important to reinvest most of your profit or surplus into the fulfillment of your mission. Now, that can be really hard to achieve in the beginning. You might need significant scale in your venture before you can have any impact. That certainly helps with, fast-moving consumer goods, or even if I can point you back in the direction of Altina. They want to completely change the Australian drinking culture and make it okay for people who not want to drink to actually participate in social events. In order for that to happen, the scale at which they must operate in that market, there are some big decisions and big choices they have to make around their business model to help them do that. It also means that you're under considerable pressure to manage the tension of profit and impact work. So for Millhouse, the key to managing this tension is to find the right support at the right time to start, grow, scale, and make a difference. So in this respect, starting a social enterprise can be the hardest thing that you do. For me, in my social enterprise, managing that tension and taking on that challenge, it's not as hard as ignoring the problem that I want to solve. Now, with the examples of the social enterprise that I've showed you before, there is this incredible tool that helps us understand how impact can happen right down at that functional level. And it helps you to understand some of these buckets that have been given to us from social traders as a way of exploring how all of the social enterprise choices that are available to you can apply to your idea or to your business. Social traders classify social enterprises into these three buckets as it helps to get your head around that broad spectrum of social enterprises that are out there. So bucket one is employment. These are enterprises that exist to provide employment, training and support for marginalised people. Outland Denim. Other examples include The Big Issue. Bucket two is community need. These enterprises provide products or services in direct response to a social or economic community need. We're going to explore a little bit about community need, but there is an example I'd like to share with you called 2 and 5, the fresh food shop. And then profit redistribution is bucket number 3. These enterprises exist to generate income, which is redistributed for charitable purposes. So Thank You Water, Who Gives a Crap, and again, Altina, they feature in this profit redistribution space. So here is bucket 1. Another example for you is Soft Landing. Soft Landing is a mattress recycling social enterprise. They operate in New South Wales, ACT, and Western Australia. They divert waste mattresses from landfill and recover the components for recycling and reuse. And then through deconstructing and recycling mattresses, they offer entry-level training and employment to vulnerable people who experience significant barriers to work. So that includes Indigenous Australians, long-term unemployed, people experiencing mental health issues, and those leaving the prison system or who have a criminal record and who find accessing employment really difficult. Soft Landing's social mission is to enable people experiencing disadvantage to develop social and economic livelihoods for themselves. So Soft Landings currently employs 72 staff. 75% of their payroll are from their beneficiary groups. And in 2016, they diverted almost 180,000 mattresses from landfill. So they have a real economic side effect from this incredible work that they're doing as well. And then there is 2 and 5. So 2 and 5 started as a fruit and veg shop to address food security in Norlane in Victoria. And due to their social and economic conditions, their community, their marketplace was not an attractive market for commercial operators. So basically, private companies couldn't make any money, so they just decided not to operate there. It meant that that community no longer had access to fresh fruit and vegetables. So over the last 3 years, 2 and 5 have been able to improve access to affordable, sustainable, fresh and healthy food for people in Norlane. That's achieved by providing high quality fresh produce through production and retail. So their business model is about owning that whole value chain. They have a shop front for people to gather. They deliver food boxes and they sell jams and chutneys. They supply a lot of those products through their community market garden. While seeing significant measurements in increasing the amount of fresh food being provided to the community, so they distribute about 26,000 kilos of food last year, they've also seen additional benefits in providing a small amount of long-term employment for local people who've been disengaged from the workforce for quite some time. So you can start to see here how the buckets tend to support each other. So by addressing a community need, they're also finding opportunities for employment. And then the third bucket is profit redistribution. Here's another example for you. The Property Initiatives Real Estate is Australia's first full-service social enterprise real estate agency. All profits go to the Women's Property Initiative and towards building homes for women and children who are at risk of homelessness. So they have a company limited by guarantee structure, legal structure, which also supports their not-for-profit structure. Women's Property Initiatives is the not-for-profit that has provided secure and affordable housing for at-risk women since 1996. What was really interesting about the life journey of this social enterprise is that the not-for-profit work that they were doing was really held back by access to finance, access to capital, access to assets, so safe homes for at-risk women to move into. So the real estate agency was developed and launched in order to provide, build profit back into the mission work, so that the homes, the assets, the capital was there to support the impact mission. So when you start to see how social enterprise comes together, when you start to understand how those buckets function, and you have that big global picture and you come down to your idea at the local level, what you're really experiencing is the for-profit spectrum. And the for-profit spectrum, it really kind of helps you to position where social enterprise fits in all of the other existing types of legal structures, ventures, organizations, and for-purpose focused work. So social enterprise uses the best practice from philanthropy and the best practice from corporate organizations to achieve their missions. That means that you will be thinking about and learning from organizations that use both surplus, which in the not-for-profit and charity space, surplus is what they call the additional money that's left over that needs to be reinvested back into their mission, and profit. So profitable margins, 10 times returns, those kinds of phrases, that kind of stuff. The money that's left over when everybody's paid and everything is paid for. You're going to figure out how to leverage sustainable models to use that to reinvest back into your mission. So you're going to exist in this gray area where there are lots of options, there are lots of different mixes, there are lots of different ways that you can bring this together. And this really compounds that tension that we often see at the Millhouse space. And depending on your legal structure, which you choose to support your mission and those impact goals, You'll be governed by legislations and responsibilities set out by ASIC, which works over in this profit side of the spectrum, and the ACNC, which is the Australian Charities and Not-for-Profit Commission work. So they really focus on this surplus space. The key question we usually have at Millhouse involves charity. So what's key to understand about charity is that this type of organisation is created to alleviate suffering. So if the work that you want to do is not directly related to alleviating pain and suffering, it's really hard to register a charity in Australia. And what if what you want to do is help people before you get to pain and suffering in their life? What if you want to tackle structural inequalities? At the other end of the spectrum is corporate ventures. Their profit is for shareholders, so they still exist in the for-purpose space, but it turns out that their for-purpose mission is to make lots and lots of money for lots and lots of shareholders. Some corporate ventures will bring in a corporate social responsibility program, but if their profit takes a dive, then the corporate social responsibility mission suffers, as there may not be the budget to support the program, or the workings of the corporate venture directly contribute to the problem that the program, the CSR program, is trying to fix. At Millhouse, we teach social entrepreneurs how to navigate this spectrum so that you can bring best practice from both sides of this equation, both sides of this practice, to ensure that your mission critical work is sustained and supported by your trading model in a way that makes sense to your customers, to your beneficiaries, to your investors. It does mean that it's really easy to get lost. I'd like to just introduce a teeny tiny tangent, which is on the legal structures. It's essential to make sure that the legal form is compatible with the goals and the operational context of the business approach. So ideally, the legal form that you choose, whether that's partnership, being a sole trader, company limited by guarantee, a charity, any of those kinds of structures that are available to you, that they really help to enhance the impact mission that you're going to engage in. If you do feel lost about legals, please talk to us, because we have some incredible mentors who really understand this legal landscape, and they can support you with advice and mentoring to help you become unlost, or found, I believe is the right word there. So this really leads us into the conversation of where does the money come from? Ideally, we want you to trade for your revenue and income. But starting up is really hard. It's no different to any other entrepreneur trying to start a business here. And you may need an investor to help you get going, or a seed funding. You might need a grant, or you might need a bootstrapping strategy. Remembering what we know about legal structures, it's important for you to know and understand where money comes from so that you can have that right structure to support your investment needs as well. So that's what this section of the presentation is about. What's key to the way that we explore where money comes from for a social enterprise is really understanding this jargon, return on investment. It's essentially talking about what someone gets back for investing in an asset. At Millhouse, we work with a different type of investor. An impact investor has a different set of values and expectations. And the impact investor interested in your idea or venture is deeply committed to your mission and connected to your impact work. In our world, the world of social enterprise, we talk about SROI, or social return on investment. That return could be a better world for everybody. They are still an investor though, so depending on their appetite, they also might want a financial return. But it will be up to you and your venture's trading model to attract the right type of investor for your mission. And that's what we do at Millhouse. We support you to really understand the journey that you're on and then create those linkages into that investor space so that you can confidently ask for what you need to get going or to grow or to scale. Other impact investors might also come from your own community or even the beneficiary group that you're working with. And this is where crowdfunding and crowdsourcing campaigns for social enterprises really come into their own. So people are buying into your impact story, and that's what the return on investment is. They feel connected to the solution, to the journey, to the dream, to the new world that you want to create. There is also this other piece of jargon that I'd like to touch on while we're in the subject. So your money will come from several different sources, and this is the key to social enterprise. It can come from grants and donations, depending on your legal structure, to social procurement and tendering, or to those traditional models of investment like venture capital and angel investing. So all of the options that are available to a social entrepreneur are also available to other entrepreneurs. And it's through this hybridity and this approach to hybrid revenue streams that really it captures both the Ginger Rogers nature of what we're doing. So it is complex. It captures the tension under which you're going to build these relationships. And it's also at the heart of all this money stuff tied to your trading model. The key to all the money stuff, though, is that a social enterprise, your money can come from anywhere, and your revenue will be a hybrid of what works to achieve your mission. And in the Millhouse Accelerator program, we really double down on this space. Hopefully you're starting to get a sense of how impact is now not only at the core of everything you do to trade, but it's also key to who you talk to support your business. What's key to where money comes from is really reminding you that social enterprises belong to an asset class. For a social entrepreneur, that value is also social return. The social enterprise asset class is really attractive for people who want to invest in social, economic, environmental, and cultural outcomes. You're building something for them to invest in. And this can also be something as exciting as a crowdfunding investor or a crowdsourcing equity investor, right down to even who you're going to sell your products and services to. Some social enterprises sell their products and services to their beneficiary group as a way of really engaging those disadvantaged and vulnerable people in that economic participation, as a way of really investing in the mission, investing in the story. At Millhouse, the Accelerator is for the social entrepreneurs to prepare their idea or pivot their ordinary business model to be more attractive for impact investors. That includes high net worth individuals, philanthropists and foundations, corporations, and potential partners who want to be part of the impact story. Which really brings us now to the crux of the presentation, which is what does Millhouse do? We've had a look at the drivers for social entrepreneurship. We've had a look at examples of social enterprises, and we've had a brief look at the money stuff. So I want to really dig a little deeper now into what we do to support you and unpack all of the complexity that you face in the choices you have to make to build your social venture. Let's really explore what an intermediary is. So our organization is an intermediary. We create links between the mainstream entrepreneurial community, or the innovation network, and between impact investors. We advocate for our asset class by educating the mainstream on the powerful ways our social entrepreneurs use the instruments of the marketplace to support impact and create a better world. We also educate emerging social innovators on the power of social enterprise. We have the Millhouse Accelerator called GRIST, as well as more than 60 mentors and industry professionals and an extended team of associates, service providers, and alumni to help explain social enterprise as an asset class and as a tool for impact. An intermediary is really important in any ecosystem, as that type of operation becomes a hub for connection and communication. And that's what we want you to experience when you come to Millhouse. You become connected to this incredible group of people, and you become empowered to communicate effectively about what you're doing, what you need, and who you want to help and how you want to help them. Now, our program is $10,000. Now, I don't want you to be intimidated by this number because, as I mentioned, Service One and the members and the membership support service of the Service One organisation really helps to make the Millhouse Accelerator program affordable and accessible to everybody. So our program co-contribution, which is the fee that we ask our participants to pay, is $1,500. And the members from Service One and the support of the Service One relationship means that you can now access this program. I've talked a fair bit on all the ways Millhouse helps, and GRIST is the name of our Accelerator program, where that help is concentrated into a package. GRIST is a 6-month-long program of education, access-based development and learning. In other words, you're going to do homework, you're going to develop your skills. And this year we are now a 100% virtual program. So GRIST is the $10,000 program, but I know that if you had that amount of money to make a difference, you would be doing that hard work already. So our investment in your social venture is made possible by our members. Service One members invest in the Millhouse Accelerator so it can build an investable social venture. We only take 10 social ventures per year, and you can access the program through an application process. The co-contribution fee of $1,500 and the support for people who need financial relief is available so that this program can be available to everybody. So what do you get for your contribution? You will have a proven social enterprise growth methodology. It's based on a really exciting program called Crunch from Social Traders. You have a business model report, which is a complete and polished business model that is tested, so you can share that with your potential partners and investors. You'll develop a pitch, which will help you to explain your business, your impact, and why you are a credible social enterprise founder. Selected GRIST participants will be part of the Service One Social Enterprise Catalyst crowdfunding campaign, and they will match and provide seed funding for some of the work that you want to do. So there's real money involved in this program. You'll also have access to an expanded network, so you can make valuable connections with industry professionals and mentors who want to see your social enterprise succeed. And you're going to have access to interns from the Millhouse Clinic, which is our student-led pro bono advisory support service. There is a few key things I want you to know about an accelerator because it is not for everybody. It's an artificial environment. In our case, it's a business environment where you can get a bit ugly, you can get a bit sweaty, and you make mistakes. But you make those mistakes in a relatively safe and supported environment. Our accelerator program at Millhouse Ventures is also a culturally safe space. So you can work on your social enterprise in a space that intimately understands the needs of social ventures, and we can help you negotiate the tensions between profit and purpose. Now, this is the part of the presentation where we're going to really kind of unpack a key tool in our program, which is the Social Enterprise Business Model Canvas. This gives you a lovely understanding of all of the elements that are involved in building a business model. What's key to understand about a business model is that it is not a business plan. So here you can see a business model canvas. This is a typical kind of canvas, which is available from Strategizer. So the canvas helps a founder to figure out how all the different moving parts of their business, from suppliers to customers, work together to achieve a valuable, meaningful value proposition that creates profit. At the early stages, it's a brainstorming tool, and eventually you'll see a hypothesis emerge, which you can then use to create a business plan. So this type of canvas is really useful in helping you to figure out what are you going to sell, who are you going to sell it to, how are you going to sell it to them, and what you need to actually have behind you. So what kind of operations, activities, partners that can help you to deliver the services and deliver the products into the marketplace. Remember how I said that social entrepreneurs are Ginger Rogers? We have to do everything backwards and in heels. Here is a picture of the social enterprise canvas, and you can see that there are a lot more moving parts. It takes that profit focus a step further And the social enterprise canvas is more aligned now with impact. So you can see on my left-hand side that vision, that opportunity, that potential consequences of your intervention in that space, that grayed out area of your canvas, that really becomes the beating heart and soul of everything you now do in your business model. For Millhouse, it always starts with impact. So an ordinary business model canvas, you start with the value proposition and the customers. In the social enterprise canvas, you start with impact, and then that is central to how you build your trading model. For our program at Millhouse, we capture impact in your vision work. So your vision is about the intended long-term outcomes. What is different as a result of your business or your idea coming into the world? We'll help you to explore your opportunity statement, which is very much around your theory of change. If you bring this trading model into the marketplace, how will that then change the world for the vulnerable people that you want to support? By defining your key target stakeholders, then who are you actually creating value for? And when it comes to the value proposition, because remember, we are just like entrepreneurs, only we have impact as part of our story. What value are you producing and how is that value measured? That happens for both products and services and your impact work. And then the potential consequences, really thinking through and understanding how social, economic, and environmental systems can be negatively impacted by the choices you make with your business model. So you start here. So for Thank You Water, the vision is to use consumer power to end extreme poverty. And this is the vision that they keep as core to all of the other elements of their business model canvas, from stakeholders that they engage with through to relationships, to key resistances, their resource streams, their key resources, all of the influencers, all of the contributors, all of the competitors that are in their space. It's all linked and measured against their vision statement. For Who Gives a Crap, the vision is to solve hygiene-related deaths by providing access to toilets through toilet paper sales. For Altina, the vision is to alleviate alcohol-related harm by providing a sexy, cool alternative to those boozy drinks. Each of these social enterprises then had to work through all of the business model choices to determine what worked for both impact and viable trading. And this is what we help our GRIST participants do over a 6-month period. The beauty of the canvas is that you can brainstorm all of your choices and work through all of the options that are available to you in order to start your adventure. So here is the social enterprise business model canvas, which combines all of those other incredible entrepreneurial elements that happens in the business model canvas proper. There are so many choices that are available to you, and we know that it's more than what a single presentation or a single webinar can actually help you to achieve. So the Millhouse Ventures program, that $10,000 program, we support you to engage in that. We invest that amount of resources and intellectual property and support and methodology into your journey, so that what you're creating, the choices that you make, are really going to help support more social entrepreneurs and more social enterprises, change the world, and influence how mainstream activities happen in the economy. And Post-it notes become your friend. So iterating your business model and developing your idea or trading model can happen at home. You don't actually need an accelerator program to do it. But if you do want to come and work with Millhouse, the tools and the challenges and the support that we give you and the resources that we give you means that at any point in your social enterprise journey, you can come back to these tools and have the skills and the Post-it notes to help you iterate and grow. And the Millhouse Accelerator, we also wrap a learning and support program around that iteration process. We speed up the amount of time it takes so that you can work really quickly. As I said, it's not for everyone. And we do have a pretty exclusive cohort each year. But if you're ready or you want to try, well, what happens next? You need to come and apply. So on our website, we have the GRIST application form. It's available and open now, and it gives you an opportunity to understand and unpack some of the choices that might be available for you. It's for people who have a dream. It's also for people who have a business, who they would like to pivot into this impact space. I would like to say a huge thank you to Service One and our other foundational partners, so University of Canberra. I'd also like to, again, let you know about Social Traders, who have provided the content and the worksheets and the support that we use in the Millhouse Accelerator program. And a massive shout out to the Canberra Innovation Network, who are one of our key kind of activators in this social innovation space. If you get a chance, I'd like you to explore the SECNA network, which is the New South Wales and ACT Social Enterprise Council. And there you can start to understand who else is actually doing incredible work in this. I'd like you to come and join us on our socials. So we have Instagram, we're of course on Facebook and LinkedIn. Come and join and see some of the thought leadership that we push out into this space. We'll give you a shout out if you've got some great things happening in social enterprise land. And it's also a really lovely way to kind of understand some of the advocacy work that we're doing. And thank you. Thank you so much for accessing this presentation. I hope to see you at one of our information sessions. And I'd love to see an application from you if you're the type of entrepreneur who really wants to explore social enterprise in this world. So there you have it. It's quite a long presentation. There are lots of moving parts in this world of social enterprise. I'm really grateful for you to sit through this whole presentation. I know it's quite a long one, but it's not a simple topic and it's not an easy concept to get your head around. I encourage you to come and visit us on our website, book an appointment. You can come and have a free consultation with myself or with Cindy. You can talk through your idea and we will support you to also put in an application form for GRIST. This year our program in 2020 is 100% virtual, and you can find out more information again on our website, but also come and visit us on our socials. So enjoy the rest of your day or your evening, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thanks so much. Ciao.